Are you involved in a lot of HR decisions?
Yeah, we don't have an HR since beginning. We never tried to hire an HR. People call themselves data driven a lot. Say I'm data driven this, data driven that. But often I find that they don't understand the simple things in data. Give me proof if they call themselves certain adjectives like data driven.
Yeah, that's about 30% of the LinkedIn profiles down already, right?
I always wanted to be a startup founder. It's always a waste resource or waste type for both the company and that experienced person. AI can create that kind of profile and then actually reach out to all those people who could really fit the role, and not just that marketing manager. Marketing manager for Mailmodo at a seed stage with these team size, serving this market, etc. That would be something really useful.
The initial first few people you let go, how difficult was that?
Yeah, personally, it was very difficult for me.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Screening Room by Equip. At The Screening Room, we shine the spotlight on the people behind the people. Last episode, we had a talent acquisition leader, and on this episode, we are hosting a startup founder. So I think I'll be able to relate a bit more to the guest today. We have with us Aquibur Rahman, the founder of Mailmodo. He is joining us from the Valley on a Sunday night. So this is full-on founder mode. I'll let Aquibur describe Mailmodo and his journey in detail, but we share some similarities. We were both of Y Combinator. We both run SaaS products, and we run relatively small teams, and hence we are sort of hands-on with everything. So it'll be interesting to see what we agree and disagree on. Thanks, Akibur, for agreeing to do this.
Thank you, Jan, for actually having me here. And it's an opportunity for me to share my views on this topic. I don't get to talk about people and HR in general. Most of the conversation I have is around marketing. So this is a very different and unique podcast that I'm part of today.
Great. Kibur and I have exchanged a lot of messages on WhatsApp, but we haven't met in person or even had a conversation up to now. So we're going straight up into the podcast. So let's see how it goes. All right. So maybe we can start off with a brief background leading up to your background up to the founding of Mailmodo.
Sure. So I always wanted to be a startup founder. And when I graduated from my college, I thought that I would work for 5 years, pay my education loan, have enough money to start something of my own. And for that very same reason, the place where I got placed during my campus placement at Ahmedabad, I didn't work there for a very long time, and I left that to join a startup at a very early stage in a founder office role. My goal there was to learn a lot, learn to basically build a startup. From there, when I didn't know anything, I slowly did a lot of marketing related work, and I slowly, when I moved to the next job, I got into marketing roles. And after like working at a few companies, I was heading marketing at Clear Tax, which is a tax tech company in India. And then that time I like completed my 5 years, and I got reminded by myself that okay, now probably this is the time to start something of my own. Initially, I didn't have any idea what to start, but slowly I spent like more than 1 year to figure out the idea for Mailmodo. And I took a gut call that okay, I have already decided that I want to do something. Let's start somewhere and let's see where it goes. So that's how like Mailmodo got started. My idea was very simple. As a marketer, I used to do a lot of content marketing and email marketing, and I realized that no matter what we do in email, we change the subject line, copy, domains, everything. The rate, etc., goes up, but the end conversion doesn't go up because to take action, the user have to like first open the email, then read it, then click on a link, then go to the website, log in there, and do several other steps to complete an action. So my idea was simple to bring those website actions within the email so that it is easier for people to take action, and that means it is better engagement and conversion for the marketer. So with this idea, I just validated the hypothesis with few companies, and we saw like very promising results. So for example, the very first company we worked with was Razorpay. They had like a requirement for the interactive emails, and they already knew about it. So I at that time tested it with them with like a simple email where this is just text, image, and a link to a form, and an email where there was a form within the email itself. And I was expecting like they will get like 10 to 20% increase in conversion, but to our surprise, they got almost 3x higher conversion. So which made us believe that this idea has high potential, and we started working on this. And now it has been almost 5 years that we have been working on this idea, and we are still going in the same way and growing.
For people who don't know, ClearTax, I think, was one of the first Indian companies to get into YC. If not the first,
Yeah,
I think it's
yeah,
very, very
yeah,
early.
yeah. It was, I think,
So yeah,
2013, probably the first Indian YC company.
yeah.
Yeah.
And good that you, I mean, like you said, you validated. Normally, when people say I validate, they'll go to a small founder that they know. But you validated with one of the largest Indian companies, right? And then you validated with HRBP, and you could see at scale, you could see that work. So that's it's very good.
Yeah, I
From
was
a
fortunate probably that I found them, and somehow I got a connect there in the marketing team. So I think it is not easy to get a big
yeah,
company to get test your product in the initial days when you don't have the product.
yeah, it's always these small things, right? I mean, when we look at the journey, it's always small trigger points that will somehow lead to a very large outcome. So I think you already sort of covered what Mailmodo does, and we've seen this as well, right? So it's introducing interactivity into emails, right? So that you can do a lot of actions within the email instead of having to go to the website. From a team perspective, can you tell us a little bit about the team size? What does it look like?
So currently we have about 55 people in the team who are like full-time employees. We have few interns as well. The team is divided 50% in tech and product, 50% in sales, marketing, business support, onboarding, finance, etc. So that's how the team is divided. I have a co-founder who is also our CTO. So he looks after all things tech, all things business. That's how like we have kind of divided it always. And so anything like marketing, sales, onboarding, design, etc., they report to me.
No, I'm just saying, I think it's the hallmark of a marketing product CEO to say CTA instead of CTO, right? You slipped up into CTA. You're truly a
Yeah.
marketing product founder. Um, from a, so I think 55 and maybe a few interns. What I have heard is there is not too much of an HR setup. Is that true? Like, are you involved in a lot of HR decisions?
Yeah, we don't have an HR since beginning. We never tried to hire an HR. We have got help from external agencies time to time in recruitment. That's true.
Is there a rationale behind this? What are the challenges? Because this 55, we are very small, so I can understand for us, but 55 is reasonably large and still not having any HR dedicated.
Hmm. So since like it has been for us, it has been like 5 years. So it is the 55 didn't happen in a day. It has been a process. Like I would say that probably we hire not more than 2 or 3 people every quarter. Uh, so so it has been not a problem. From HR point of view, I think there are two main functions. Like one is recruitment, and second is the HRBP kind of internal management. So for recruitment, most of the team leads, or in the initial days, I was involved myself. So it was we never felt that we really need a recruitment person in the team, and it is not like a full-time job at our company. For a HRBP kind of role, that is managed by me and my co-founder and my all the team leads. So and we also have like kind of build the culture in a way that people are find it easy to reach out to me or my co-founder to express any kind of apprehension, concern, or even just tell whatever they feel. So
Mhm.
we never felt like the need for an HR.
I see. And so you're saying didn't feel the need, which also means not too much of a challenge. At this stage, you're
Yeah,
able to handle most of it. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. And if we focus specifically on hiring, um, you know, because you're saying you handle a lot of it as co-founders, how differently do you hire across functions? So you said 50% is tech and product, and the other 50% is more
Hmm.
operations and marketing and so on.
Yeah.
Can you think of, apart from the obvious, can you think of some differences in how you hire for these functions?
So I think it has also changed over time. In the initial days, it was mainly through our connections and references, because at that time we didn't also have any kind of funding or money. So we also used to rely on people who could trust us that, okay, they can join our company and we will be building a good company and we'll be honest about whatever we were promising. So it was mainly through references. Slowly, as we started growing, especially when we got funding, got into news, a lot of people started reaching out because I think I have been very active on LinkedIn for various things. People started reaching out, and I kind of hired some of them as well, like people who reached out themselves and presented themselves in a really good way and expressed why they would want to join Mailmodo. So I found that they were really passionate. They put extra work rather than just applying to a job by click. They actually went through the company, they researched about us, and then they decided to express interest. So I like those kind of people, and we have hired so many people like that as well. And as we grew further, we kind of started figuring out a specialized talent. So in the beginning, it is more of like generalized talent where they can be used in multiple things, because at the beginning we also didn't know what we really wanted and what we wanted to do, etc. But as the company grew and progressed, we needed a specialized talent who had experience or previous SaaS company, marketing SaaS companies, or who have done things that we were not able to do ourselves. So I think that transition has also happened over time.
Now you're hiring for different roles, but the process of hiring, is there something that you're doing differently? Or, for example, when you're hiring for sales versus when you're hiring for engineering, is the process
Okay.
very different?
No, I would not say it is very different, but for each role, there is certain skill set that we required. For example, for a sales role, we would want a really good communication skills, person who can express them both orally as well as written in a good way. So we share some kind of assignment beforehand, or we ask them to share a video of them while applying for a job. So that is the kind of like unique requirement based application process that is in there for a sales role. But for a, let's say, marketing role, it would be very different. Probably, let's say we are writing a content writing person, we would probably ask them to share some of their work before, or any kind of portfolio, or I'll give them an assignment to judge their work. So that is the main difference according to the skill set or the function. There can be different types of requirements that we want to assess. So in those cases only the assignment or process would be different.
I promise this is not a leading question, but do you use
Yeah.
any tools for shortlisting and assessing? If yes, what has worked? You mentioned that you do assignment for sales and you look at content, blog content, for example, for marketing. But do you use anything for shortlisting at all at the very early stages?
We use Google Forms and Google Sheet a lot for the hiring
Okay.
process. So yeah, like whenever like we require somebody completely new and we are not able to find it in our circle network, we post it on a LinkedIn that hey, we are hiring, and because of our previous engagement, we get a lot of reach, and from there we just put a Google form link. People apply on the Google form. We get all the data, and we in a Google sheet, and we just list people there. So that's how that is like a simple process. And I think for each job role that we post about, we get like probably few hundred applications easily.
Mhm.
So far, it has been working for us.
Are you seeing that number grow as the brand awareness of Mailmodo increases? You said a few hundred. How has that growth been, the initial pool of candidates?
I think it is more than the brand, it is more about the market as well. If the market, in the current market scenario, I feel that the application numbers are quite high because of people looking for jobs in the market are much higher than the number of jobs in the market. So in probably in 2021 era, we had to like be like really like pushy about closing roles. Like we at that time for an engineering role, to close one role we had to like offer 5 people, so that like
Mhm.
4 of them we knew that would reject or would find something else at that time. Now it is not the case. Now we have more number of application, and if we give an offer to somebody, they most probably accept.
Yeah, we've seen that too. Correct. I'm told that you guys are growing sustainably. You have very good ARR and so on. This obviously comes with cultural trade-offs. Did you have many? Did you avoid a few things that other companies do so that you could scale sustainably?
So From a team point of view, we have been like very consistent in last few years. So in the beginning, we started during COVID period. So everybody was online. Everybody was remote. So the culture was set in a way that we were hiring only people with very high ownership so that we don't have to follow up with them on a day-to-day basis, on a regular basis. Hey, have you done this work or not? So that kind of people and culture we want to avoid, and we try to avoid actively. And we sensitize everybody that hey, if you are owning something, it is your responsibility. And everybody at Mailmodo has like shaped themselves in that way that if there is a responsibility, like I don't have to really go after them on a day-to-day basis that hey, have you, like, how much progress have you done,
Hmm.
or what have you done today? I don't really have to ask. It is more outcome based. Okay, let's say on a weekly basis or monthly basis, we have defined certain goals, and people adhere to those goals themselves. And so we have built like a high ownership kind of culture, which even after so many years has not diluted. Like, in fact, it has strengthened more, because even when somebody new comes who is not accustomed with that kind of culture, and or who are accustomed with micromanaging kind of style, they see other people how they are working, and they kind of become like aware of the culture. The whole process, the ownership and the culture keeps strengthening.
It. We again, I keep going back to YC because that's something that we share in common. We know companies in our own batches that have scaled rapidly, and in general, YC companies are expected to move fast. And there is a little bit of FOMO, right? When you see people from your own batch, they're raising a lot. There's a lot of again awareness on socials. You're seeing them getting a lot more likes than you. How do you sort of reconcile that at a personal level? I
Mm.
understand from a team perspective, you're able to tell people that you follow the process and there is ownership. But at a personal level, do you think these things affect you? And how is it perceived, right, by the rest of the team? So you can say, look, this company was launched just a couple of quarters
Well, yeah.
ago and they've scaled so much. So this problem with moving too fast
Mm.
versus getting some sort of reach, how do you reconcile the two?
Yeah, that's a good question actually. It's like personally, like I have always been a person who doesn't look at others, but I think that that is not true for everyone. And other startups getting success, or let's say a lot of funding, or a lot of some or other way of announcement or public release, etc., does have some kind of effect in general over the team. Or and I hear sometimes that okay, this and that company raised like hundreds of $1 million after just let's say 6 months of their business, etc. But I also understand that uh, there's a lot of factors behind it, right? And we are not same in so many different ways. Like the story could be different. The founder there could have worked at those uh, VC companies, etc. So there could be a lot of situation or reasons on which a lot of things are dependent. Even the market determines which type of company would grow. Second is that we hear about only the very successful stories. We don't hear about the 99% stories which don't go there. And there are several examples of companies which are probably started with us but have not done well, or are still at the same stage, or have pivoted, or are at a similar stage to ours. So I don't think comparison to anybody else is wise, and that is true for both personal and for company. Like even in personal, your own siblings could have achieved different things in life, or your friends from college would have different things in life. And if I keep comparing,
Hmm.
either either I will get sad because others are ahead, or I will feel proud uselessly because others are behind. So there's no point.
Okay, it's very very wise of you. I get affected a little bit more, so I was trying to see how you do it, but that's good. In terms of scaling, because you said the first few people you knew, and at some point, I think you would start getting employees whom it's not even a second degree connection, right? What has actually let me ask this: can you recall the first person that you hired who is not a first or a second degree connection? For example, are they still with you? Tell us a little bit more about that process where you move from this being people, set of people who know each other loosely, to actually a company, right?
Yeah, so our current sales leader, I think he was number 5, or even like he was the first 5 employee. He's still with us. He was not through direct connection, but I think I was trying to hire somebody and I didn't have much money, and he was immediately available. And somehow when I talked to him, and I kind of vibed with him and thought that this guy is very motivated and driven. So I just hired him that time, and he has proven himself really well. He was hired just as a sales manager, and slowly he became the grew in the company and became the sales head. And he is probably one of the most process oriented person in the company. Like most salespeople just believe in a lot of talking or building a relationship. He's doing both.
So when did you hire him? Which, do you remember the year?
Yeah, it was like very beginning. Like we didn't raise. We have like some amount of angel funding, not much. We didn't do YC or anything that time.
So this is
And we
2020.
yeah, the end of 2020. Yeah.
So that's 5. That's very good, right? I mean, especially
Yeah.
if it's a someone has joined and has been with you as an early stage startup. If you can join Google and then be there for 10 years, right? But that's okay. But if someone has seen your journey from very early stages, because as your company's reputation has grown, their
Yeah.
street cred in some sense increases. So it's very easy for them to jump ship. But the fact that you've retained and that they have also chosen to stay back, that speaks very well. Uh,
Yeah.
Talking about hiring in 2020, you briefly talked about how difficult it was. You had to make 5 offers for one acceptance. If you could go back to that phase, right, say 2020 or early
One.
21, is there a hiring mistake you would warn your younger self about?
Yeah, I think I have also made some hiring mistakes. I think number one being hiring too senior person too soon, where you also need to add a lot of junior people to execute anything, or they are coming with some kind of preset notion like how a company should run, or they have always a habit of how big company would run. And if you don't have that kind of resources, it is always a like a waste resource or waste time for both the company and that experienced person. So I think like after we raised funding under the pressure, or just the thought of like scaling fast, hire the best person for certain roles. And I think, but that doesn't work. It is very important to hire according to the stage of the company. Like I said, like in the initial days, it is more important to hire somebody who is more of a generalist, who is ready to adapt and learn or adapt, and who is ready to do a lot of new experiments and like make a name for themselves, rather than somebody who has like 15 years of experience and come up with fixed playbooks. So those kind of people are needed when you are like growing after a certain stage, where you already have figured out that okay, out of these 10 experiments 8 would not work, but 2 of these would work, and you hire like experienced person to scale that 2 experiments that have worked for you.
We've been talking about hiring.
Yeah.
One advice I got, or maybe something I read online, was
Yeah.
as a founder, you must hire slow and fire fast.
Yeah.
Right? So we've talked about the hire slow aspect. You come across as a very gentle person. So I wanted to know, when it came to firing, how did your first, after a while you get used to it, but the first few, at least I found, were very difficult.
Yeah.
People have maybe moved cities, people have made plans, they've informed their social circle about this new job they've got. And if it's an early firing, right, within a few months, because you know that it's not good for them, nor is it good for you. So logically it makes sense. But how did the initial first few people you let go, how difficult was that?
Yeah, personally, it was very difficult for me, and like I had to like I was delaying it, delaying it. I knew that it was not working, and but like finally, like I had to like build like, and it happens even now. Like it is not about the first person, but I feel that even now, if I have to let go of somebody, I would probably think like twice or thrice, like okay, whether it is really the right time, or I have given the person all the chances that is required, or is it really that I can't do anything else, or can I move that person to another team where he would or she would excel better. So I think about all of those things, and once all of those options are not available, then only I go through the process. But I realized that if you're kind enough and if you explain yourself at the right and explain the right reason to the person, most people are kind and genuine as well. So they accept that this is part and parcel of doing business, doing startups. So while like in my mind, I think a lot that okay, this would be wrong, but if I realize that when I explained why this is not the right fit for both them and us, most of the people said okay, and they said no worries. And I also
Yeah,
then help them to get placed at other companies, etc. So I have like tried to like help everybody in that respect.
I think you're right. I think it's the initial conversation because it's a 0 to 1, right? They're planning something, you've involved them in meetings, they're looking at the future. That initial conversation is a bit difficult, but once you are transparent with them, I think most people appreciate. I have had the same experience where if you lay everything out and you go over and above, like you said, trying to help them ramp off, right? And then get them placed elsewhere. And then until their last working day, obviously you don't give them too much work, but you give them all the benefits, stuff like that, then they will really
Yeah.
appreciate you. So
Yeah.
maybe that initial conversation is a bit of a shocker if they're not expecting it. And that should not really happen because obviously, like you said, you give them chances. So you give them enough feedback that they should not be caught unaware. But I think you're right. I also thought it would be very difficult, but the maturity with which people took it has given me confidence that it's, like you said, it's a transaction, right? So you can just tell them.
Yeah.
Okay. Talking about culture, one thing again I've heard is Mailmodo is known for its culture of encouraging its employees to follow their own passion. And so again, obviously you're doing well, so people will have to be focused on their work and so on. And how have you managed to strike that balance then where people can follow their hobbies, but also grow the company and the demands that come with it?
I think we don't like force people to do something, or we don't micromanage as well at like on several things. Like there would be like few things which are critical where, let's say I am involved, the founders are involved, or the team leads are involved. But at the end, most people have like a very clear direction that they have to like own certain projects or certain things and certain tasks, and if they are able to like do that well, they are free to do whatever they want in their free time. So we like people we have like helped people follow their passion, and we have seen that some of them have started their own company after moving from Mailmodo. Some of the like one person has become a stand-up comedian, and he had been doing stand-up comedy even while at Mailmodo, and finally he left jobs and finally decided to like go into that full time. So I don't think like it is like anything that we do extra. It is just that what we let them do what they want to do.
So is it a fully remote
Yeah,
setup, Mailmodo? Okay, it's completely
yeah.
remote.
Yeah, we are a completely remote company. We have an office in Bangalore. Only those people who are interested to come to office, they go there.
And you haven't internally thought about this, or you're happy with it? Have you thought about changing this, or you're
Yeah,
very
like
happy with what it is?
we keep getting that discussion often that hey, should we bring people back, but we realize that like people are in different cities and they have families, children's school, etc. If we mandate everybody to come to Bangalore, even if it's a hybrid office thing, it will be very difficult for them and many of them will probably leave. So that's why we don't want to be in that situation, or we
Got
don't
it.
want to make it really difficult and stressful for people.
Okay. Yeah, I can, like I said in the beginning, there are some things that I said we would agree on and disagree on. And so in this, I
Yeah.
think I have a slightly different take. We've been, obviously during COVID, we were remote, but
Yeah.
since then we have found it much more easy to collaborate. But I understand what you're saying, right? Because once you've started and in your case, it seems to be working. I think it really depends on ultimately
Mm.
the results is what you look at, and clearly it's working and you have been able to retain leaders you hired very, very early. So why change something that seems to be going well, I guess?
Yeah, I think it is also about the stage. Till 2022, there was COVID, and it was difficult, like to even think about like full-time office thing, right? Only in I think 2023 or 4, people started working from office in a proper way. By that time, like we had a lot of processes set. We had a lot of uh, like things done in a certain way that we realized that we don't really need people in person to get things done.
Got it. So this following passions is quite unique. And also, even now doing remote you're not very big, but it's not like you're a very small team, right? 50, 60 people is still a large enough team.
Yeah.
And you're doing remote. That is also quite unique given the
Yeah.
trends right now. Is there anything else that you think is there a ritual or some tweak that you made that has made a surprising difference to how Mailmodo has been functioning successfully? Is there some secret sauce to this?
So, like, we haven't thought about it a lot or measured it in a way that we could realize what is the impact. But I think giving people the freedom to do things in their own time and on their own, I think it has a lot of advantage and people take ownership seriously. Like, I have seen that people, without even mandating, people are thinking about like our US customers who are for India time, who are on the night shift, and there are people who would, without even asking, been like working during the night shift sometime. So to address questions or queries of the people or do attend a call as well. I think it is making them feel that they are the owners of things uh, and they can do it the way they want at the time they want and be supportive of their decisions. I think that is the most important thing, and that has helped us grow so far in a sustainable way. I would not say that we have like rapidly scaled like a lot of other companies, like how Lovable, Bolt, etc. is scaling today. But
Yeah.
we have also not like died, or we have also not like had like we had a good progress, and it could not be possible unless we had a positive culture in the company. I think positivity matters. Like I think one thing is like if there's a lot of negativity in the culture or negativity from other people, people automatically feel frustrated. But if there's positivity overall, people feel positive and driven.
Okay. So you're saying basically having a positive mindset overall, and also you have seen this happen organically where the people are taking up, for example, addressing queries at night, even though it is
Or
not expected,
yeah,
things like that.
even doing a customer call at night, uh, without like without even my awareness. They don't even tell me that okay, I'm doing extra work.
Okay. So the bulk of the sort of podcast is done. The last section is what these are quick questions, quick response type of thing, right? So I'll ask you a few questions and answer whatever comes to your mind without thinking too much.
Sure.
In terms of when you're interviewing candidates, is there a funniest or the strangest response you got from a candidate that took you by surprise when you were interviewing them face to face or on a call? What is the funniest or strangest interview response you received?
I don't remember like that. Yeah, I don't remember it,
Do
and
you
nothing is.
have, for example, people who turned up to an interview and did not even know what Mailmodo does? Like, have you had that experience?
In some cases, yes. People generally know a little bit. They have like seen the website. I don't expect them to know a lot in detail, but definitely people who know or have done their research well, they definitely stand out. So those would be the rare number of cases of people who would actually do all the research. Most people would not do a lot of research.
Yeah, correct. Okay. And is there an overused phrase in I actually, the question I had was in startup HR or hiring, but I'll open it up because you're a founder. Is there an overused phrase in startups in general that you would ban forever?
That way, I will ban.
That you
Okay.
would ban forever?
People call themselves data driven a lot. That hey, I'm data driven this, data driven that. But often I find that they don't understand the simple things in data. So I think people need to give me proof if
Yeah.
they call themselves certain adjectives like data driven.
Yeah, that's about 30% of the LinkedIn profiles down already, right? If you say remove all those who say data driven. We know VCs talk about anti portfolios, right? Where they missed investing in a company that became really successful. As a founder for hiring, do you have someone in mind? Obviously, not the full details of the name and so on, but someone you really went after and missed out on.
In the initial days, there were some people like whom I really wanted to hire but could not hire because their salaries, etc., were quite high. But I would not regret that as well. Like I think the talent pool in India is really good. There are a lot of people for the same role which are really talented, have done really good things in their life, and some of them have joined us. So I'm not regretting any decision, but yeah, there were people like whom I really wanted but could not hire.
And has it been, as you matured as a founder, has it been easier now than, like you said, 5 years ago when you were looking to hire and you couldn't get them because of salaries? Now, if you try and hire someone and it doesn't work out, are you more calm about the whole thing?
Like after once we hire them, and if it doesn't work out, or like in the
No,
during the
no,
process.
just not being able to hire them. In the early stages, you're trying to move fast, perhaps. And so
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
don't hire, you feel like it's a big miss. But with time, you realize that as important as people are, one miss is not going to determine the future of the company. At least that's what I feel. So
Yeah,
is it easier to deal with
definitely.
it now?
Yeah, definitely that is there. And definitely I feel that now the market situation is also in a way that if I want to hire, and we have money, funding, etc., everything now, that if we want to hire somebody, we are able to hire. So, and yeah, like you mentioned, it is also not like a big deal if we are not able to hire somebody because the talent pool is quite good and big.
Got it. Yeah. Uh, okay. Penultimate question. So if AI could automate one HR role, doesn't have
Yeah,
to be hiring, so it could be HRBP, whatever. Which would you? So what is the one that you're least keen on doing?
least keen.
Yeah. So you would
Like,
want AI to take over in HR function. What would you like AI to automate so that you don't have to deal with it as a founder?
yeah, so I do a lot of sourcing myself. Like I reach out to people whom I feel that have the right set of profile or have worked at the company that I inspire from. Like for example, if I have to hire a salesperson, I inspire from certain SaaS company that okay, I will hire from this company. So like if the AI can find out okay, this is my company. If this is if this is my so if this is my company, this is the kind of people I would should be hiring. If AI can create that kind of profile and then actually reaches out to all those people who could really fit the role, and not just that marketing manager for Mailmodo at a seed stage with these team size serving this market, etc. So finding specifically that kind of profile for me and then reaching out, that would be something really useful. Today, when we hired the all job portal, LinkedIn, etc., give us generic results. Like if I search for, let's say, marketing manager or an account executive, for an account executive, it would be really helpful for me if they really have an experience of selling to marketers, if they really have an experience of selling to US market. So AI should understand this, that okay, I'm not hiring any account executive, I'm hiring account executive for a for Mailmodo, which is a email marketing company, 5-year old, etc., etc. So, and if they can, it AI can actually map that a specific persona, that would be really great.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, final question. As founders, we have sort of idols, right? So other founders. So I would ask you for an Indian founder and a non-Indian founder. Whom do you take most inspiration from? One Indian and one not non-Indian.
Yeah. So in India, like in SaaS ecosystem, Girish is like widely known. So I think he has done like a really impressive job in building Freshworks and growing it and listing it on Nasdaq and everything. So like his journey is really inspiring in a lot of ways. In the US, I really like what Airbnb founders have done,
Mhm.
like the company they have built, the values they have built on, the design and the category that they have invented. All of that is like really inspiring.
Got it. Again, I cannot help but think of how much of a marketing founder you are. Girish, Girish is also into marketing, and Airbnb also is. Again, the aspects you spoke to were, it's very true to what you're saying, right? You said values, you're saying the design and the marketing. And so it clearly shows that this is something that is not an accidental company you're leading. It is something that you resonate with. So yeah, that shows throughout the interview. All right, great. So that brings us to the end. Thank you so much, Akibur, for taking the time. Again, like I said, this is Sunday evening. Thanks for doing that, doing it at such a late hour.
Thank you, Jan. I think I really enjoyed myself. The question that you asked were quite new, and like I was at some of the question, I was like thinking myself, whether what should I really answer to this question.
Thank you. It's very refreshing. You were very nice to talk to, very easy to talk to as well. Thanks, Akibur. Have a good
Thank
night.
you, Jan.
Bye.
Have a good day.